Hi, this is Semach Yehuda Richter. I'm holding a picture of a very special lady who unfortunately was Niftar. She passed away, I believe it was Friday, and my family and I are very sad. My wife and I knew her. Her name was Winnie Gourarie. We were in South Africa when she was at her height of her popularity. Everybody knows her, everybody knew her. And it was very special of her that she made friends, very good friends with my wife, and she was well known and well loved by everybody. My experience with Winnie Gourarie is not one of a lengthy time period, of course, but I must say that there is one time I did meet her that stands out in my mind. That time was when she lost her father. Her father was a very famous Rav in South Africa. His name was Rabbi Aloy. Everybody knew him as well. He was very instrumental. I believe he was part of the Beis Din, as well as many other organizations. And Rabbi Aloy was very well respected by all the Jewish community throughout Southern Africa. So I was at the Shiva house, I remember, and I believe it was their house where she said Shiva for her father. And I must say, for me, that was really the first time that I said Shiva in the house of such a gadol, because her father was definitely a gadol, and I really didn't know the proper way to behave in a Shiva house. But it just so happened that I had a copy of the Code of Jewish Law. And where I got this copy was not from a South African rabbi, because when I was becoming Shomer Shabbos, I was living in St. Louis Park. And that was the scene, that was the city where the movie A Serious Man was made or was talked about. And I graduated from high school in 1967. That is the year that was talked about in A Serious Man in the movie. But in the Code of Jewish Law, a special Rav gave me this book and told me to buy this. And I looked up and I saw what had to be done in a Shiva house before I went. There's a section that is labeled Chapter 207, and it's called Comforting the Mourners. It's in volume 4 of that edition that I have. And it talks about what has to be done in a Shiva house. What's the proper way to conduct yourself? And I just want to read that based upon what we saw in the book of Job, and it was written exactly in chapter 2, verse 13, it says, and none spoke a word to him, and after this opened Job his mouth. So I went to the Shiva house, and I had this understanding that I would be quiet. I didn't say anything to the mourners that were sitting there, including Rebbitzen Gourarie. And exactly what it said in this book, exactly what it said in the laws, that's exactly what took place. Everybody was quiet. Whenever Mrs. Gourarie said something, then to somebody, they would answer. But everybody else was quiet. And then it says that you are obligated, I believe it says, if the comforters perceive that the mourner wishes them to withdraw, they are not permitted to remain any longer. So we say the traditional saying that may Hashem comfort you amongst the mourners at Tzion, Yerushalayim, and then we are then obligated, I guess you would say, here to leave. So I will leave this video with that saying to the Gourarie family. I'm putting it up on my channel. I want to say the same thing to the Gourarie family for the loss of Mrs. Gourarie. She taught my wife and I many things, but that's the one thing that stood out that caused the Torah for me to be live. Once I went to their house and I saw the Torah being practiced exactly as it is written. So again, I want to wish the Gourarie family that Hashem should comfort them amongst the mourners of Tzion and Yerushalayim.